Hey everyone, it's Siobhan here. Today I'm going to be showing you a hair idea that I'm nicknaming the Fifth Avenue braid. And the reason for it is because the first time I ever saw it was on Fifth Avenue here in New York. A couple of weeks ago, I was with my daughter and we were going to Central Park to our local playground at 76th Street and Fifth Avenue. And on the way there, we were kind of stuck behind two young women who were probably in their late teens, early 20s, and one of them had this fantastic braid. And it kind of looked like a Dutch braid that had been sort of yanked apart, and there was ribbon in the center kind of going like this. So I knew it was some sort of multi-stranded braid, but I just couldn't tell how many strands of ribbon. And finally we got to the crosswalk and I just turned and I asked them. They were super nice cousins, and the one cousin had done the other cousin's hair, and they were so excited about talking about it, or talking about their hairstyle, that I probably could have asked to take a picture on my iPhone, but I decided that was a little too creepy and I just took a mental picture instead. As it turns out, it is a 5-stranded French braid, and it's 3 strands of hair and 2 strands of ribbon. So I know that a lot of you guys have written to me in the past, or if you haven't, you've expressed through comments that 5-stranded braids are kind of difficult, and I completely and totally understand this. The pattern in it of itself, a 5-strand braid pattern, is not difficult to learn. It's kind of more learning to have 4 strands in one hand and 1 in the other and weaving it through. It's like learning how to use your hands to hold all the strands and not forget which one's which. So it is a little bit of a challenge. In the beginning, when I first started to learn how to do this braid on my own hair, I kind of did one of these numbers where I made a ponytail and I just worked with this hair. And then when I started to feel comfortable, then I began to do one of those sort of French braids. I'm gonna link all of the videos that I've done that incorporate a 5-strand braid, just in case you're curious to see what they look like. And yeah, one of the things that I think you need to get used to before you even try to do a 5-strand braid or French braid is learn how to do a Dutch braid if you don't already know how, because you need to get your hands used to braiding underneath. Now, a Dutch braid is like a French braid in that you add hair along the way and you braid under as opposed to over, and the under makes this really cool sort of 3D pattern on the top of your head, so it looks like the braid is kind of just sitting on top of your head. Doing a 5-stranded French braid is very similar to a Dutch braid in the sense that you're going to have to braid the strands under. The pattern for a 5-stranded Dutch French braid is under, over, under, under, over, under on both sides, going this way. Hopefully my explanation later in this video will be a little bit more clear. But yeah, you need to understand how to braid the hair under. Now I've got 5 strands of ribbon here. And these 5 strands of ribbon are going to represent 5 strands of hair. Now, I've found that when teaching myself or teaching friends how to do a new braid, the easiest thing to do is to number the strands. That way you remember where they are and where they're supposed to go. I always start from my right hand to my left, but you can always just reverse this and start from your left to your right. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now 1 will go under 2, over 3, and then under 4. And you'll find that strand 1 is now sitting in strand 4's position. This is when you go back to your right side and rename the strands again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now coming in from the left side, you're going to take 5, braid it under 4, over 3, and under 2. Okay. So now we go back and rename. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So, do it again. 1 goes under 2, over 3, and under 4. Sorry, trying to get this ribbon to lay flat so you guys can see the pattern as it starts to create itself. There we go, a little better. Now, again, gonna go back and rename 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Coming in from my left side, 5 will go underneath 4, over 3, and under 2. So as you can see, it's a very simple pattern. It is basically going from right to left and under, over, under. And then from left to right, again, under, over, under. When it comes to doing a French 5-stranded braid, it's the same thing as doing a 3-strand French braid or a 3-strand Dutch braid. You always add the hair in to the outside strand. So imagine that this is the middle of the head, and these are the outside strands. So this is strand 1, and you'd add some hair from your temple to strand 1, and then continue with the same pattern. 1 going under 2, over 3, and under 4. Then you would go back and rename the strands 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You'd add hair to your outside strand, which is 5, and continue again with the pattern. 5 under 4, over 3, and under 2. So now that you've learned what the actual pattern of a 5-stranded braid is, I'm going to try and translate this to my head. That way it'll make a little bit more sense. And I've got 2 ribbons here. I've got a pink and a white, and I decided to have 2 mismatching ribbons just so that they will stand out a little bit more and it won't be as confusing as to which strand is which. I've also tied them in a knot around a small little plastic elastic. You can do this on any kind of hair, curly, straight. I started to do it on damp hair. Damp hair was okay. And wet hair, though, I found that it was actually harder for me to work on my hair when it was wet, but I guess that's kind of up to you. If you have fine hair, like I do, one of the things that you can do, because you're going to need to be able to grip the strands and don't want them to slip out of your hands, is take some hairspray and hairspray all of your hair, let it dry, and then you'll feel like it has like a tacky sort of texture to it. And sometimes I find that that helps me grip the strands a little better. So I'm going to make a little part here, because this is where I'm going to start my braid. Just for a moment, I'm going to clip this completely out of the way. Like, there. Looks a little silly, but yeah. What I'm going to do is tie this as close to the root as possible. Now that I have that done, I can release this and start my braid. So, see, it's here, and I've got this little bump that's sticking up, this little ribbon bump. I'm not too worried about that because I feel like I can hide that underneath the braid when I'm finished. Just split this top hair into 3 strands. One of the things about doing a 5-stranded French braid is that the first few passes are going to feel really loose. They're not going to feel secure at all. Just go with it. Stick with the pattern, and by the time you get about 3 or 4 passes into the braid, you'll see or you'll feel that it's starting to form, and that's when it gets a little easier, but I think you'll understand what I mean. You're going to have 2 strands here in your right hand, and you're going to put the 2 ribbon strands here. So it's going to be 2 strands, 2 strands hair, 2 strands ribbon, and 1 strand hair. The ribbon are always going to be here in this section. I'm going to turn around. Hopefully you'll be able to understand what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to start from my right to my left, and I'm naming them 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 1 goes under 2, over 3, and under 4. Now I'm going to do that on this side. I renamed my strands. 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is 5, so 5 goes under 4, over 3, and under 2. This is where I start to add hair. Now I gotta turn around because I need to see how much hair to add. So I'm adding hair into my strand 1. Added hair into strand 1. See, it's a little loose. It's because I haven't quite gotten it tight enough yet. So 1 goes under 2, over 3, and under 4. This is 5. We gotta add some hair to 5. Okay. So 5 goes under 4. Over 3. And under 2. You see, it's an under, over, under, as I was explaining it before, with hair being added in to the outside strands, being added into strand 5 and strand 1. So this is basically a 5-stranded braid, just with 3 strands of hair and 2 strands of ribbon. But you can forego the ribbon altogether and just, this would be the same pattern to make a 5-stranded braid. When you've added all of your hair in, you can continue to do the 5-stranded braid pattern down the length of your hair. Now I don't go as far down because I have choppy layers, and this braid, being a multi-stranded braid, eats up so much of my length. So like the ends of my braid ends up looking kind of wonky. So I'm gonna go as far down as I can, but it might not be as far down as some of you guys will be able to. One of the things I forgot to mention was how long the ribbon should be. Personally, I would tell you to make it as long as possible because the first few times I tried this, I made it double the length of my hair and it seemed to be too short. So I've made it triple, a little longer than triple the length of my hair, and that seems to work a little better. I don't know, I guess it's one of those things where you have to kind of mess around with. Now, when you finish, hopefully your braid is gonna look something like this. So it's a little bit tight, but if you would rather have a tight braid, then you can leave it like this. But the girl on the street, she had her loops of her braid, they were kind of pulled to make the braid look really, really fat and kind of fun. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'd like to warn you guys though that the first time I did this, I am so heavy-handed. I'm heavy-handed with makeup, I am heavy-handed with a curling iron, I am heavy-handed with writing. So I went like this and I like literally pulled strands of hair out of my braid, and after all of that work, because you've got your hands up over your head for, I don't know, 10-15 minutes, it sucks to have to go back and do that again. So try and be really gentle while you're pulling the strands. And of course you're gonna want a mirror or something so that you can see what you're doing. Feel like any strands have been pulled out of place too much, you can always just tuck them back in, but what I'm doing is I'm going to kind of try and take my hair and cover the top part of my braid with a bobby pin. Hopefully that's gonna work. To you how you wanna fix the rest of your braid. You can cut the ribbon or you can tie it around the elastic. Another idea would be to try and tuck that up. I know for those of you that have really long hair, you might not be able to do that, but you can always take the end and wrap it in some sort of side bun or something like that. So let's see. There you have it, you guys. This is the 5th Avenue braid. I'm really excited to get to share it. I posted a photo of it on my Facebook page, and I don't think I've ever gotten so many likes or comments on one particular hairstyle as I did with this one, and I hope that with some practice you guys will be able to do it. I know that it's a challenging one, especially learning how to grip all the strands. I have tied all my hair into one ponytail here and tried this method out with the 3 strands of hair and the 2 strands of ribbon, and it's worked out beautifully. It's made a really lovely sort of side braid, but I do kind of prefer to have it all kind of off my face. And yeah, the 5-strand braid, it is definitely worth it to learn because it's one of those things that, like, if you have it in your rotation of hairstyles, it is so versatile. It can be used for casual dates, or you can use it at work, or you can use it at a very formal occasion. Yeah, it's just one of my favorites. Yeah, I guess that's it for now. I hope that my explanation was clear And if you have any more questions, I'll try and answer them in the comments below. Okay, bye guys, see you later.